So I will go ahead and press record because I did stop. Oh, nope, it's still going.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, I think it was still going.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I will go ahead and press record because I did stop. Oh, nope, it's still going.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, I think it was still going.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is such an important event that I have set up for you all today. It is about how you can make your website make money for you. Just a little background about myself. My name is Mai. I'm the founder of YesBar. YesBar is a strategic coaching program for parent entrepreneurs to help them find strategies, the most efficient strategies to help them build their business, generate leads, and convert those into sales in the most efficient way that not only build their businesses, but gives them back time, right? We are all here because we want more time, more freedom to be with our family and live the dream that we desire. And so I have a very special guest today. She is a mom herself, her an entrepreneur. She's also a website expert. And I think she's going to deliver so much value for you today. And so I'm going to just transition that to her really quick and have her introduce herself and then jump right into her zone of genius. Hi, Kelsey.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. Okay, is it okay if I share my screen?
Absolutely. Oh, let me go ahead and enable that real quick for you. Okay, go right ahead.
Awesome. Okay. Get that out of the way. All right. Hello. Hello. So excited to be here. And thank you for that introduction. I love talking about how to optimize websites to make it work for you, right? We want our websites to help us, not hurt us. We want to feel confident with them. We want them to be one of our best marketing tools. So, we're going to talk about some tips today that you can implement onto your website today that will help it be a little bit more optimized, capture your audience a little bit better, and book out your services. So, a little bit about me is I am a website designer for WordPress websites. And I specialize in website design strategy. So making sure that once people land on your website, they know what to do. And I absolutely love working with service providers and coaches, especially women, even more so moms, because we all get it. We know how busy life can be, and knowing what your website can do for you to save you time so you can get back to your family. I'm just really passionate about. I do have three littles. I have three kids, 5 and under. So I truly know how much of the thick of it we can kind of be in. And I don't think that changes as kids get older. I think their needs just get different. I used to teach high school. I know that the teenagers are just as needy. I'm in it with you and I get it. So I really love helping you as a service provider, as a coach, even if that's not your line of business. I want your website to be working for you so that you can have a better work-life balance, if that makes sense. So, quick agenda is 3 quick ways to improve your website for a better user experience. Because when people know what they're doing on your website, when it looks like something that they can achieve, all those types of things, they will take action on your website. So, 3 things we'll cover are how to allow your content to be more visual appealing. Not to say like that's the only thing that matters, but there's more than just let's make it pretty. There's more to it than that. So, we'll talk all about that. How to emphasize a clear call to action. I cannot say this enough. People have to know what you want them to do on your website, or they just won't do anything. And then how to improve the user journey on the website. How are you making them flow through the website, and how can you make that better? And then, of course, we'll have a little quick Q&A time. I don't think we'll have time for any co-working time, but we could have done that if we needed to, or if you need time to come back and ask me questions at another time, you'll know where to find me by the end of this. So the problem is maybe you are always worrying about where your next client will come from, or you find yourself spending too much time on social media, chatting in the DMs, even when you want to be off your phone and spending time with your family. Maybe you're just like trying to sneak in that little extra time on marketing on your phone, or you send people to your website, you have new leads you think will come through, and then you just don't ever hear back from them, right? Those are all things that are not helping us in business, and your website can actually make those things easier. So 3 quick ways to improve your website for a better user experience to book out your services. Here we go. First, visual appeal. So there's a few different pieces to it, and we're going to talk about each one. The problem with visual appealing is sometimes it's hard to get your message across if it's not visually appealing. People have limited time to consume the content, right? Especially if you're marketing towards moms. We don't have time to read paragraph on paragraph of paragraph of your website. We are catching glimpses of your website. We need to be able to hit the ground running with it, right? So we need to make sure that the website is clear and concise. Reduce down that content the best that you can. Make it clear, make it purposeful. Don't have extra fluff just to have extra fluff, right? That's not intentional. People have limited time, limited attention spans, and we don't want to lose them because there's just too much to sift through, right? So how you can break up chunky paragraphs, like even if you, first we'll start with, you don't need 5 sentences, 5, 6 sentences per paragraph. I know that's like what we were taught in school at some point or another, is like every paragraph has to have 5 to 6 sentences or whatever. That's not true with your website. Think about like an Instagram caption, right? Or anything that you put on the internet, right? You're not putting it as like one giant paragraph. You're putting spaces in there, you're putting emojis, you're breaking it up so that people can consume it easier. It's easier to skim when it's not all lumped together. So first, can you reduce the content? And then after that, how can you break it up? I love breaking up content, tons of copy, big chunky paragraphs, by hitting enter between some thoughts and ideas. Like, don't put more than 2, 3 sentences max in a short little paragraph. Can they be in the same section? Absolutely. But like, spread it out, hit that enter bar, or not space bar, enter key, a little bit in between your thoughts to make things spread out a little bit easier. And if there's a line in there that you really want to emphasize, could you use bold or italics or a different color? Or could you use all caps? Or could you even put it in a different font somewhere in the middle of that paragraph to make it just even more broken up? Another way is using icons or bullet points, something that would make it easier to look at when they're skimming through. And that's where you could use, headings, making sure your headings are clear about what you do. If someone read all of the headings on your website and nothing else, would they know what you do, who you serve, how you could help them, those type of things? Because those are the highlighted pieces that people are going to read. So make sure you're highlighting the correct content, spread it out, and just break it up the best that you can with all those different ways of changing up the font. In terms of fonts, font choices also matter. Making sure your main body font that, has like the big paragraphs, the big blocks of text, are easy to read. Let's not use a script font there. Let's not use something overly fancy. Can it just be, like a Times New Roman or Arial? Like, absolutely, Montserrat, whatever it is, keep it simple so that it's easy to read when there's a lot of it, especially. And then also use fonts, like, don't use too many fonts. 2 or 3 on a website is plenty. And if you're going to use a script one, short little snippets. It's not meant for like big long sentences. People just don't read them. It's hard to read. It's for like emphasis, if you want to say like, hi there, or my name is, or whatever. Those are great places for the script. Keep your heading font something that's easy to read if you're going to have longer chunks of text, right? And then give things space. Give it breathing room. I know it feels like we should like push everything super close together, but actually giving some space between sections, between lines of text even. So if you have a paragraph that's like 3 lines long, can you increase that line height just a little bit to make it easier for your content to breathe? People will take that breath with you, right, when they're reading. So making sure things aren't too clustered together. Can you even, separate sections a little bit more with some breathing room? White space is our friend. We like it. It gives us time to pause. It gives us time to consume what we're reading. Images break up content so well, whether you're using it as a background image to like separate different blocks of content, And you can put like a color overlay on it or something like that. Or if you just want to put text side by side with an image, that just, it makes it easier to read. You just think about if you were just looking at a page with like only words, it would be a lot, right? Break it up. Think about like a newspaper, right? They're not luring you in with just print. There is a lot of print in newspaper. Please don't put that much on your website, but they are breaking it up with images and headings and things like that. So do that on your website too. So, and I'm going to give you an example of what this all looks like put together. So here's an example of a lot of text. It's all the same size, and it doesn't matter if you can read it. It's just, you can see that it's a lot of words. It's all the same size. Even there's spaces between, there's not like a huge paragraph all together, but it feels that way. It feels overwhelming to look at. Versus if we change it a little bit by implementing some of those things, that is the exact same content on those 2 pages. We gave it images, we gave it different background colors. You can see that there's different size fonts, different color fonts. There's in all caps, there's a like an icon bullet point list. There's something bolded, there's something italics. It gives it space. I am way more likely to read the one side versus the other because it just feels more achievable to read the important pieces or even to skim through it and catch the highlights. And here's another example. Again, this one has some colors, some different font colors. It has a list of 1, 2, 3, 4 at the top. Again, it doesn't matter if you can read it, but then you take that and change it to something like this, and it just feels more achievable. Instead of just a list 1, 2, 3, 4 straight down, it's broken into columns because sometimes just seeing it side by side rather than in a straight down list makes it easier. There's images included. I brought things in a little bit closer by adding some space on the side. Like it's not quote unquote white space, it's like a pinkish space, but there's space in there. And then again, I brought back some color into the fonts and another image. It just feels more achievable that way. Okay, so problem number 2 is if you do not have a clear call to action. If you don't have that, people don't know what to do. They get lost. They're confused. They're going to drop off. They're going to bounce. They're going to close out of your website. And that's not what we want, right? We want them to know what you want them to do so that they will actually do it. My favorite way to use a call to action is using buttons. You can make them pop with a color, right? That's kind of like your accent color that makes you draw you in, that draws in your eyes. Like even on this screen, you can tell that my like accent color is like the orangey goldish color, right? Because your eyes are drawn there, right? That's the color that I use for buttons on my website. Always include it either in your menu or in your hero section, that top section when people land on your website. We kind of call that above the fold. If you can see it on the screen when they land there, that's above the fold, right? So have a call to action very obviously in either the menu across the top or in that first hero section, because you're offering that main call to action that you want them to take. And we'll talk about this in problem number 3 also. It'll be obvious to them. Their eyes will be drawn to them. They might take action right away, which that's the ideal scenario, right? If you leave them somewhere else on the site, and again, we cover that more in number 3, offer that call to action again. Don't just offer it once. Think of it like a proposal, right? If someone says no to it, you might offer it again in a different way, right? Or you give it some time, let them learn more about you first, and then offer it to them again. I am also a big fan of testing, and I don't just mean like in your editing view of your website. Take it off the editing view. Go to your phone, go to your friends or somebody in your house's phone and test it. Make sure that they can click on your call to action. Sometimes we drop that button and we forgot to actually link it, and then that button goes nowhere and it's not helpful to anybody. Or even the main navigation, your menu sometimes is not clickable on mobile for some reason. You have to figure that out. Like, how awful would it be for someone to come to your website that you sent them to from Instagram or Facebook, and they're on the go and they're on their phone and they click on it and they literally can't do what you want them to do on their website. Like, that's so frustrating to the other side, right? So test it. Can they get to your main call to action? Does it actually go somewhere? Does it go to where you want it to? And even bonus here would be, can you ask a family member or a friend that would maybe be in your target market and see if they navigate through your website to the point where they actually get to your call to action. Like just let them explore your website and see what happens, and make sure they give you like full honest feedback. So some examples of that here is you can see on my website, I use that accent color for my buttons. My eyes are automatically drawn to that color. That's what I want them to do, right? And you can change up the wording on the button to make it a little bit more enticing to click on, but don't make it so cute that people don't know what they're doing, right? Make sure they understand that they're moving forward with something. And then here's just some other example sites where I've used buttons either in the menu or in the hero section, but this is all above the fold. There's the button that they want you to take. And I use that accent color. And one person, the one with the pink box, she only came to me with pink branding. And I said, you know what, can we use a color pop color? Like what feels good for you? So even if you don't feel like you have one, find one that works for you, that speaks to your target market. Find out an accent color that you know will kind of pop with your colors that you already use, because it's really going to work. Like my eyes are drawn to those buttons immediately. Okay, number 3, the user journey. And I kind of explain that as like how people flow through your site, how they're working through your site, where are you leading them? Ideally, we're always leading them to the main call to action, right? But if the user journey is confusing, if they don't know what to do next, then they're lost. They're like, where, well, I clicked here, but now I want to get back and I feel like I can't. All of it plays in to how they'll interact with your website. When people get lost or confused, they bounce, they leave the site. And we don't want that. So how can we fix that? So think about where you want them to end up. Let's assume it's a book a call link. Let's assume that's your main call to action. When they land on your homepage, do they know where to go? Where do you want them to go? That's why I have that first clear call to action in your above the fold somewhere. You know that's where you want them to go. But let's say they're not ready to take that action, right? On your homepage, as they're scrolling through, do you give them the option to go somewhere else? Let's say you have a small section that kind of teases your services, right? Do you offer them to go to your services page from there? Do you offer them to book a call right there? If you lead them to your services page on your services page, is there a way for them to book that call, or do they have to go backwards, right? We want to make it so easy for them that they almost can't say no. So if you lead them to an about page, if you lead them to a services page, even if you lead them to a blog, can you offer that main call to action on those pages as well? Don't make it weird, don't make it awkward, right? But find a place where it feels right to offer that piece again and make it very easy to find. Don't make them hunt for it, right? So that's the ideal journey. Is first we want them to just, and I think I have this list. Yeah, okay. So the ideal journey is from the homepage, they take that main call to action. They click that button, they book that call, they can move on. But some alternate journeys is they land on their homepage and they want to know more about your services. So they move to the services page, offer that main call to action again so that they can take that one. Or instead, they're on your homepage and they want to learn more about you first. They want to feel some trust factor, right? So they kind of go to your about page. Did you lead them there? Could you lead them there with a button or something like that? And then from there, maybe they want to now learn about your services. You know, they're really digging in. They really want to learn more about you and what you can offer them. So then can you lead them to the services page? On the services page, is there a way to book a call? If you send them to a blog post or a podcast, is there a way to book a call there? Or even linking to another blog post? Do you offer it there? Like, you got to just keep offering. But we want to keep the user journey short. If they are going through like 15 pages to get to your main call to action, they're just not going to do it. They're not going to do it. We just have to keep making it easy for them to realize this is what I want to do. I need to keep going. So keep your user journey short and purposeful. Don't just send them on a like hunt for just because. And then I'm going to back up here. Outbound links. If you are linking to like an affiliate link, or you're linking to someone else's blog or to something else that's not on your website. So even if your call link goes to like Calendly or Dubspot or however you have that set up, make those open in a new tab, because they might want to go back to your website, and it will be much easier if they see that extra little tab at the top to just click back. It's a simple thing, but it makes sense and it works. My last tip, and it's kind of a bonus tip, is always make sure it is mobile optimized. I can't tell you how many websites I view from my phone, even though I work from my computer every day. As a web designer, I still am on my phone visiting other people's websites more often, probably 9 times out of 10, because I'm a mom on the go. You know, we might be like waiting in car pickup line, or my kids are happily playing in the park, and I'm like, oh, I have a few seconds to just like scroll something. I will almost always find a website on my phone first. If they don't make it easy on me, or I can't click something, I get so frustrated. I went to a website recently, and one section, I have no idea why this section did it, but one section had half the text off the screen and I couldn't even scroll to it. Like, I don't even know and it was the hero section. It was like the main section at the top of the website that tells you, who they are and who they serve. And I was like, I can't even tell if I'm in your audience because I can't read it. So definitely double check, because my guess is this person didn't know this and they didn't test it on mobile. They kind of trusted that it was working. Definitely always check, go look at it, make sure it's there, make sure it works so that people can always see it. And so that is kind of just a snippet of the design strategy that I kind of go into. I think about so many things that we end up having like almost an hour-long strategy call before I even touch the design of a website to make sure that I'm meeting your target market and your target audience, to make sure that they are going to take action on your website. Everyone is different. I want to make sure that your website is optimized for you and for your market, not trying to force you into a mold. So I always build with custom. I always build custom. I do have some that are in a slightly different aspect, but they're still custom built by me. So I always design with strategy first. If you already have a current website, I do an in-depth review of it. But there's a lot of different ways to work with me if that is something that you are interested in. Number one is you can have a custom site made just for you. We'll take a deep dive into everything. And you can find that information on my website, on my services page, kelseyromine.com/services. I also just posted today that I have a special for service providers right now for my semi-custom website. So I built it. It's very flexible. It will still work for you. You just have a little bit less. It's a little bit less built from scratch. I built it from scratch, but it's, I use it in a variety of different ways. But if you are a service provider and you're ready for your first website, or you're just ready for that next one because you just want to like move on past that one, this is still set up with strategy, and it is a homepage, about page, and services page, as well as your call link for $9.97. So I have that going on just for summer, and you can find that at kelseyromine.com/service-providers. But other than that, I would just truly love to help you in any way. So if you have any questions, please ask them, send them to me, whatever you feel comfortable with, because I am very passionate about helping other moms and women achieve their dreams too.
Oh my goodness, Kelsey. First off, I haven't worked with you yet, but I can tell that you're so good at what you do. You're so thorough. And from the get-go, you're like, you don't want to take people through, especially moms, right? Through so many pages and sections on a website. And I myself have been through websites where it's like, okay, so like, when am I going to get to the appointment link, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I have so much of my data ready. The last thing I need is to dig through your website. So I love that your strategy is about efficiency and it's a time saver.
Yeah.
Now I do have a question.
Yeah.
For those that do not have their website optimized, what are they losing out on in their business?
Here's the thing, when you send people to your website, you should be hearing back from them, right? If you aren't, then your website's not set up to capture them, right? Which means you're spending more time marketing with less results. So if if you're sending people to your website, let's say you posted on Instagram and it sends them to your website today. You could turn off your phone, not off because nobody turns off their phone, but you could put it down and expect people that when they go to your website, they're actually going to take action. They're going to book that call with you while you get time back with your family. Like you can put your phone down and not be chatting in the DMs all day because your website is set up to capture the people that you are sending there. Whereas if you're sending people over and over again and you're not hearing back from them, then you're just like on this hamster wheel of marketing that's not working for you. If you really want that time back and you want to save time, like we talked about this, I think at the beginning, you want to save time, you want time with your family. That's why you started a business in the first place. You don't need to be on this like wheel of constantly, marketing. You want to be able to send the qualified leads that you do send to your website for them to actually move forward with you. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
Really basically leaving money on the table.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And where can people find you? You have a great offer right now available to service providers. Where can they
Yeah.
find you, Kelsey?
I'm most active on Instagram. That's at kelsey.m.romine. Um,
Okay.
you
You can
can,
pop that in the chat if you like.
yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. And then my website is always kelseyromine.com. The service provider package is not linked in the menu. It is strictly if you know me, you're hearing about this. If you follow me on Instagram, that's where it's being posted. This is not something I am like sharing with everybody type of thing. Because I only have limited spots and I want them to be the people that feel confident, to be in my circle and things like that. So I'm not like putting it everywhere. It is, if you have the link, you can achieve that. So I can put that in the chat too. Service providers. And I am on Facebook. You can find me there. I have some freebies available. And I also have a digital product. If you're thinking about a website, I would do this with you if you book a package with me. But if you want to just like start the ball, start getting things ready for a website, I have a planning workbook that basically starts outlining some of these things, making you think about your target market and how you can appeal to them. And it's like the beginnings of your web design strategy without it including a website. So it's a workbook that you can work through. If you work with me through one of my packages, then we do that together. And so you don't necessarily need to buy that. But that is, I believe it's either $17 or $19 right now. But it has been doing well, so it could increase. So snag it if you want to. And then I have a freebie that's like similar to this content. So you actually got way more content than that freebie. But if you want like a checklist of some of the things we talked about on this training, then you can grab that too. All of these things are linked in my bio on Instagram, which is probably easier. So yeah, there's like lots of things, lots of ways. And I can do web design audits also. So if you already have a website and you're like, I just don't know what to change on my website, I will record myself walking through your website with design tips and things that you could change, suggestions that you could change to make it more optimized for your target market.
Okay. All right. Kelsey, I love everything that you have taught us today. I myself have learned so much.
Good.
And I think this is something that I think a lot of times people, they're so focused on marketing strategies that
Mhm.
they do forget to come back and look at what they already have, right? Which is usually a
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
Like, is your website working for you? Is it generating
Hmm.
those leads and is it converting those leads into sales?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yes, and so thank you so much for sharing your zone of genius with us today. For those of you that are tuning in or watching it later on replay, please reach out to Kelsey. It doesn't matter if you have a website right now or if you're thinking about having one, you want to be prepared, right? You don't want to have a website where it does not generate leads for you because that's like opening up a brick and mortar building and you don't have any customers coming through those doors.
Yeah.
Yes, and so please reach out to Kelsey. Kelsey, thank you so much for your time.